Have you ever caught yourself mid-thought, suddenly aware of the whirlwind of ideas swirling in your mind? That moment of clarity, that brief pause in the constant chatter of our inner world is the gateway to a profound journey of self-discovery. It's a journey that captivated thinkers, spiritual leaders, and now cutting-edge scientists for centuries. Today, we're diving into the transformative power of self-observation, a practice that's as old as human consciousness itself, yet more relevant than ever in our fast-paced, distraction-filled world. I'm Mark Roach. Welcome to Transcendent, my platform from a perspective formed from a journey around the world, through life, crossing a spectrum of human experience from high to low, as most people in American society define them. This channel is all about inspiring common people to find their power and place their uniqueness in their lives. Much of the research and understandings I've come upon in my journey involve biblical scripture, as well as that of scientists, mystics, philosophers, exceptional spiritual leaders, pioneers in psychology and neuroscience. Much of their work is complicated and technical. I'm an engineer with a deep connection to my emotions and inner life. So I've conducted research in my life, and I'm sharing it here, hoping to ease the way for others who also deal with complex PTSD or have a calling to pursue their uniqueness or have a friend or loved one in such a place. Some of my work feels original here, but those who I've studied, like Jung and Gurdjieff, Nicole, the Apostle Paul, Steiner, deserve much of the credit. Let's start by breaking down what self-observation really means. At its core, it's the practice of becoming aware of our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors without judgment. It's like stepping back and watching yourself as if you were watching a movie, but in real time. This might sound simple, but it takes a skill that takes practice, and it can lead to profound changes in how we understand ourselves and interact with the world around us. The idea of self-observation isn't new. In fact, it's been around for thousands of years. Ancient Greek philosophers like Aristotle talked about the importance of knowing thyself as the foundation of wisdom. In the East, Buddhist traditions have long emphasized mindfulness and self-awareness as paths to enlightenment. More recently, in the 20th century, a spiritual teacher named George Gurdjieff developed a system called the Fourth Way, which placed a strong emphasis on self-observation as a tool for personal growth. But here's where things really get interesting. Modern science is now catching up to what these ancient traditions have been saying all along. Neuroscientists using advanced brain imaging techniques have been able to see what happens in our brains when we practice self-observation, and the results are pretty amazing. When we regularly engage in self-observation, it actually changes the structure and functions of our brain. Specifically, it strengthens an area called the anterior cingulate cortex, which plays a crucial role in self-regulation and emotional control. In other words, the more we practice observing our thoughts and feelings, the better we get at managing them. Now, you might be wondering, why is this so important? Well, let's think about it this way. How much of your day do you spend on autopilot, reacting to things without really thinking about why you're reacting that way? Research suggests that for most of us, it's a lot more than we think. In fact, some studies today estimate that up to 95% of our behaviors are habitual or unconscious. Self-observation helps us break out of these automatic patterns. It allows us to pause between stimulus and response, giving us power to choose how we want to react rather than just falling back on old habits. This can lead to better decision-making, improved relationships, and a greater sense of control over our lives. But let's get practical. How can we actually incorporate self-observation into our daily lives? Well, here's a few techniques that have been shown to be effective. Number one, the body scan. It involves taking a few minutes each day to mentally scan your body from head to toe, noticing any sensations or tensions without trying to change them. It's a great way to start tuning in to your physical experience. 2, emotional labeling. Through the day, try to pause and name the emotion you're feeling. Are you anxious, excited, frustrated? Just the act of labeling our emotions can help us gain some distance from them and respond more thoughtfully. 3, thought watching. Set aside some time to sit quietly and observe your thoughts as they come and go. Don't try to control or judge them, just notice them. It can be helpful to imagine your thoughts as clouds passing across the sky of your mind. 4, journaling. Write down your observations about your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. It can be a powerful tool for self-discovery. Try to write without censoring yourself and look for patterns over time. Be sure and keep these private. 5, mindful activities. Choose a routine actively, like brushing your teeth or washing dishes, and try to do it with full awareness. Notice the sensations, the movements, the thoughts that arise in you as you're doing it. Now, I want to be clear, self-observation isn't always easy. In fact, it can be downright uncomfortable at times. We might notice things about ourselves that we don't like, or become aware of painful emotions we've been avoiding. This is normal, and it's actually a sign that the practice is working. The key is to approach these discoveries with curiosity and compassion rather than judgment. It's also important to remember that self-observation is a skill that takes time to develop. Don't get discouraged if you find your mind wandering or if you forget to practice for a day or two. Every moment of awareness is a step forward, no matter how small it might seem. As we practice self-observation, we often start to notice some interesting things. For example, we might realize that a lot of our stress comes from the stories we tell ourselves about situations rather than the situations themselves. Or we might become aware of how our mood affects our perception of events. These insights can be incredibly empowering, giving us the ability to change our experience of life from the inside out. But the benefits of self-observation go beyond just personal growth. In our increasingly complex and interconnected world, the ability to understand and regulate our own thoughts and emotions is becoming more important than ever. It's a crucial skill for effective leadership, for navigating relationships, and for adapting to rapid change. In fact, some researchers believe that self-observation and the resulting self-awareness could be key to solving many of the challenges we face today as a society. When we're more aware of our own biases, reactions, and motivations, we're better equipped to communicate effectively, resolve conflicts, and make decisions that benefit not just ourselves but others as well. Let's take a moment to explore some of the specific ways that self-observation can help transform our lives. 1, emotional intelligence. By observing our emotional responses, we can develop a better understanding of our triggers and patterns. This leads to improved emotional regulation and more empathetic interactions with others. 2, stress reduction. Self-observation allows us to catch stress responses early before they escalate. We can then use this awareness to implement coping strategies more effectively. 3, improved decision making. When we're aware of our thoughts and feelings, we're less likely to make impulsive decisions based on momentary emotions. Instead, we can respond more thoughtfully and align our actions with our long-term goals and values. 4, enhanced creativity. Self-observation can help us tap into our subconscious mind and lead to new insights and creative ideas. 5, better relationships. As we become more aware of our own patterns and reactions, we're better able to understand and empathize with others. This can lead to more meaningful and satisfying relationships. 6, personal growth. Self-observation is a powerful tool for identifying areas where we want to grow or change. It allows us to see our habits and patterns clearly, which is the first step to transforming them. Now, you might be thinking this all sounds great, but how do I know if I'm doing it right? The truth is, there's no one right way to practice self-observation. It's a personal journey, and what works for one person might not work for another. The key is to find approaches that resonate with you and that you can consistently incorporate into your life. That being said, there are a few signs that your self-observation practice is having an impact. Number 1, increased pause. You might notice that you're able to pause more often before reacting to situations, giving yourself time to choose your response. 2, greater self-compassion. As you observe yourself without judgment, you may find that you become kinder and more understanding towards yourself. 3, improved focus. Regular self-observation can enhance your ability to concentrate and stay present in the moment. 4, reduced reactivity. You might find that you're less easily triggered by external events or by other people's behaviors. 5, increased insight. You may that you start noticing patterns about your thoughts and emotions and behaviors that you weren't aware of before. Remember, self-observation is not about trying to control or change your thoughts or feelings. It's about becoming aware of them, accepting them as they are, and then choosing how to respond. This subtle shift in perspective can have profound effects on how we experience life. As we wrap up, I want to emphasize that self-observation is not just a personal practice. It has the potential to create ripple effects that extend far beyond our individual lives. When we're more self-aware, we're better equipped to contribute positively to our relationships, our communities, and the world at large. Imagine a world where more people are aware of their thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. A world where people could pause before reacting, where they could approach differences with curiosity rather than judgment, where they can make decisions based on deep self-understanding rather than unconscious habits. That's the kind of world that self-observation can create, one person at a time. So I encourage you to start small. Maybe set a few minutes aside each day to check in with yourself. Notice your thoughts, your emotions, your sensations in your body. Don't try to change anything, just observe. Over time, you might be surprised at how this simple practice can transform your life. Remember, the journey of self-observation is ongoing. There's always more to discover about ourselves, always new depths to explore. But each step on this journey brings us closer to living with greater awareness, authenticity, and purpose. As you go about your day, I invite you to carry this spirit of curiosity and self-awareness with you. Notice your reactions, your habits, your patterns, and most importantly, approach what you discover with kindness and compassion. You're embarking on one of the most important journeys there is, the journey to truly know yourself. I'm Mark Roach, wishing you all the best.